Hey everybody, happy Tuneful Tuesday. This is Miss Tara at the Hummingbird Conservatory. I am your virtual voice teacher and this is your virtual voice lesson. I'm so happy to be here with you today and I have a great lesson planned for us. We're going to do a review of arpeggios. We started talking about them I think at our last Tuneful Tuesday 2 weeks ago. So I have a nice course. We're going to kind of do a review of that lesson and take a pass through arpeggios again. But we're also going to do a little exercise before that for vocal therapy. For me, I had a stressful weekend and my voice needs a little bit of a tune-up, so I thought I would incorporate that into our lesson as well. But for starters, what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to our breath. So I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to hold my breath for 16 beats, and then I'm going to send the air out on a really thin stream through my lips, going all the way till the end until I think I'm done. As always, you can join me with this, doing it at my tempo, but I actually encourage you to do it at your own way and pace. So if you can go faster, that's great. If you can go slower, that's even better, okay? And what I want you to do on this first one is really pay attention to your form. So do you have a nice lifted torso the whole time? Okay, you're not getting too stressed or tense with your shoulders and your neck, but you're also not collapsing as you exhale. Also, when I do this, what I'm gonna think about is really lifting, almost lifting into my cheekbones, like I'm lifting my voice up out of its slumber from the last couple of days, okay? So here we go, breathing in, holding breath for 16 beats, which I'll count out on my fingers, and then exhaling for as long as I can. That felt really good, and I was grateful that I had mentioned about paying attention to form at the end, even for myself. This is always good. Singing is a journey. It's not something that you ever, as someone said to me this morning, it's not something you ever arrive at. It's something that I'm always getting better at. So kind of being mindful of those ideas, the torso lift, but not too much tension, and the exhalation, and actually paying attention to my lips, making sure that they're not forming an embouchure of some kind or getting too tense. Everything is just on the breath, automated as the result of breath, okay? So we're gonna do this again. This time I'm going to count to 24 beats, okay? So I'm gonna add 8 beats. Normally I add only 4 when we do counting. Today I'm gonna add 8. Go at your own way and pace. You can do 16 again. You can do, you can hold it for as long as you like and then just release. You don't have to count with me. This time I'm gonna pay attention to my lungs, actually, in my rib cage. I'm gonna inhale and see if on my exhalation, after I've held my breath, if I can keep that lowest rib in front of me lifted as long as possible. Interestingly, when I do that, it not only keeps a nice lift in my torso, but it keeps me pulling my stomach muscles in even longer. So it's actually really great to think about my lowest rib staying lifted as long as I can, okay? Here we go, 24 beats. That was really good, actually. And I did feel my lowest rib lower because that's what it's going to do. But there's something about just a tension on that that really helps me keep pulling my stomach muscles in, really have confidence in myself. And I can't tell you how that idea that like you can keep going, that there's always more in there, has paid off for me in my singing. There's something psychological about that that's really helped me as I've grown on this lesson in my own vocal journey. And I'm at my own voice lessons and I'm doing these really long phrases. Maybe they're in songs that I've been studying for like 20 years and they used to be so hard. And they're still so hard. They're hard for a reason. But I'm able to accomplish them because the psychology I have now is that there's always more air in there. I can get in there. I need to breathe soon, but I can actually get through the vocal line, okay? I'm going to do one final inhalation, and this time I'm going to go for 30 beats, which I'll count out on my fingers. You can join me on this, or you can hold it for as long as you'd like. You can go faster or slower, however you'd like to do it. I want to just remind you that holding breath is not the purpose of this exercise. Some of my students always get really caught up in that. Like, I can hold it for 40, I can hold it for 60. It's not really about holding the breath. This is about slowing everything down to get into the body. As I said, I had a really stressful weekend this weekend. There was a lot that went on, and my singing voice and my body went through that. Let me tell you, I was getting ready for this lesson a couple of hours ago, and I was practicing this, and I could feel the stress from this weekend in my body. When you're a singer, you are always a singer. So I can't tell you enough how important it is that we inhale and get attention on our body and do what our body tells us to do, what our instrument is telling us to do, not actually forcing it into a certain way of being, okay? So here we go. Last time, 30 beats on my fingers. Here I go. Ah, that felt nice. And would you just do that with me too? Let's just do a very relaxed, nice vocalizing sigh. Ah. And now another one. Go a little bit lower. Ah. And then one on top. Ah. And one on the tippy tippy top. Ah. Believe it or not, that stuff really helps, even those very little tiny things, okay? So the therapy exercise we're gonna do today is, oh, I got a new camera position, so. Okay, the therapy exercise we're gonna do today is just a really nice, relaxed one. Mostly it's gonna be on a hum, okay? And it's gonna be a descending descending major third sigh, okay? Major third is mi to do or do to mi. That's a major third interval, okay? And actually, we're gonna be talking about that interval when we get to arpeggios later, okay? So we're gonna do a little sigh starting on the top of the note, okay? And we're gonna just go, okay? Now remember, when I hum, I'm closing my mouth, okay, but the teeth are slightly apart on the inside. Now, when I hum, I'm closing my mouth, okay? So I still need to breathe, get a nice breath between open my mouth to breathe. So I'm not gonna breathe through my nose. I'm still going, and to me, this idea is very circular. It's like these little baby circles I'm making in the front of my face. And if you're joining me in this octave, or you're a gentleman and you're singing maybe an octave below me in your second octave, that's fine. That's totally fine. You probably are feeling a lot of vibrating in the front of your face, a lot of like warm buzzing sensation. That's awesome. That's your voice telling you where it wants to hang out. That's pretty low for me, even by my standards. Now I'm gonna head back up, okay? And I don't know if you're noticing this, but it's very connected, right? So I'm not going but I hum really well, especially down here. My hum is pretty sizable, but I want you to understand that humming is not about force. Humming is actually about getting tone on breath kind of in the smallest way possible. What you're hearing is the benefit of many, many years of humming and the fact that my low range is really, really forward and very large. But if your voice, if you're finding that it's kind of hard or you're feeling like it's unsustainable, you're probably pushing, okay? You really want to imagine when you're humming. I like the idea, and I'm still even thinking this as I'm going through, that when I hum, it's like I'm threading a needle, okay? The needle is the notes. The eye of the needle is the note, okay? And the thread is that breath that's coming through and connecting. Especially as we get higher, my hum is, you're going to notice it's going to start to get way more narrow, okay? Oops, sorry, wrong way. Particular challenges in this range of my voice. I like to go in too heavy and then I'm always flat. So what I'm really trying to do now, and this is why I'm doing this exercise, my voice is not tired but stressed. So I'm doing this exercise because I want to sing in tune the rest of this lesson and indeed the rest of the day. So what I'm doing is I'm really letting the breath carve out those areas of it. To me, it feels like my cartilage in my nose, that I'm just carving out these little areas with breath where these notes go. If you're a treble voice like me, meaning typically a female voice, and you're in this range, this area is a connection point from, it's basically your high middle, and it's a connection point to passaggio. So sometimes it's tough to feel. Some singers want to bring up too much chest here and belt through here. Other singers want to bring too much head in. And actually it needs to be a blend of both. Some singers will tell you it's your high mix. I don't love that verbiage myself, but it's just because it's very musical theater and I prefer more classical terminology when I'm discussing technique. But the idea is of the mix voice is relevant. It's an interesting word. I don't disagree with it in theory because what they're talking about is a blend of head and a blend of low, okay? But I still like your middle to be your middle, not that it's relying on any section of your voice necessarily to create it. So to me, that idea of mix means that it's not a real sound, and it is a real sound and it is a real position in the voice. So that's why I call it middle. Now I'm moving into sort of my passaggio area, so this is going to start to get really narrow for me. I'm going to do two more. So now I'm going to descend, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. So I'm going to hum on one and then go to a lip buzz. As a reminder, I can't do lip buzzing unless I'm pulling my stomach muscles in. So this is a direct transition from positioning of the voice to breath of the voice. Sorry, what am I doing? Buzzes. Take the humming out entirely. So now I feel not totally warmed up. It still feels a little bit cobwebby in there for me, but I feel like I've done a little bit of treatment on my voice just to get it sort of into position to teach today and be feeling a little bit more expansive and roomy and sort of like flexible. Yeah, soft and foamy kind of. Who knows? Who knows what I'm saying? Anyway, okay, so arpeggios. As a reminder, okay, the difference between one note and another note is called an interval, okay? So whenever we add, musicians add, when you sing or play from one note to another, that is an interval. But whenever you decide to play more than two notes together simultaneously, that's called a chord, okay? Singers, unless we're with other singers, we cannot sing more than one note simultaneously in a chord, right? So we sing intervals, and then once we go beyond one note to another, and we go to a third note, okay? That is what we're beginning to do, some kind of chord, and those are called, at large, they are called arpeggios. So basically, anytime that I sing three or more notes, I'm singing some kind of three or more notes that work together harmonically. I should add three or more notes that work together harmonically to form some kind of chord. They are called arpeggios. There's all different kinds of arpeggios on all different types of notes and variants of the major scale. But today we're going to be focusing on sort of the arpeggio that everybody knows, which is the arpeggio that's based off of do, okay, or the one chord or the tonic, however you think about it, okay? From do, we're going to sing do, okay, and then we're going to sing the next interval jump from do, which is in the arpeggio, is mi, okay? So from do to mi, as I said earlier, that interval is a major third. The difference between do and mi is what's called a major third, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to sing mi to sol, okay? Now mi to sol is what's called a minor third, okay? So do to mi is a major third, but mi to sol is a minor third, okay? When I play them together, they create a one chord, okay? So when we sing them, we individualize the notes, we arpeggiate the chord. That's what we're doing, okay? So the solfege here is do, mi, sol, mi, do. 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 Now, just as a reminder, that sol, I think, can be a little hard for people, okay? So the idea is that S, the thing that's good about, sometimes when it's hard to see things, I like to break it down and look at what the composer, in this case, just music theory, is giving us to work with vocally, right? Like, what are my assets that I can use to help me get through a thing? And in this particular case, sol, as a word, has some assets to it. First of all, it begins with an S, which is an aspirate consonant, and the only way that I can create it is by pulling my stomach muscles in. Sol, okay? That's how I create the S. So that means I can actually attack the sol with some breath immediately. Do, mi, sol, okay? The other thing that's working for us with sol is that it's an O, okay? O is not a wide vowel. I would say it's a wider vowel, but there's also some narrowness in its construct. It's tall, okay? So you can use that sense of size, that sense of space, and yet that sense of sort of vertical lift to help you sing the top note. Sol, see? Sol, it's not like si, which is very small. It's sol. It gives you a little bit of space up there. So if you're a person who's extending into higher range here and you feel like you're getting too high, that's okay. Use the space of the vowel to help you. Now, the thing that works against us, especially as English speakers, is the fact that sol has an L in it, okay? I think L might be the worst consonant. I go back and forth between L and R as consonants for English speakers and singing, but L is pretty bad because even the way we say L, we fold it into our tongue and fold it into our vowels. So we go sol. That's how we say it as English speakers, okay? And I'm not a person who believes in doctoring sol. Some people do say so, and solfege has so many roots. It's so ancient and has so many roots. At one time, it probably was so somewhere. But the way that I've learned it and the way it's interpreted in Western music is as sol, okay? Which has Latin roots for sun. And it has something to do with the fact that sol is the fifth of the scale, and the fifth is a really big deal. In fact, all of these notes that we're working on today, the do, the mi, and the sol, are really big deals tonically and in tonality for Western music. But we're not going there today. Anyway, my point is that we have to figure out a way around that L, right? So the way that we do that is we dentalize it, meaning we put it in the teeth, okay? So instead of it being a very American L, a sol, I'm gonna go sol, sol, okay? And it's almost like that L is its own thing. It's not even attached to the vowel. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Sorry. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. I sound a little Italian, I know, but that's why people study Italian in singing, because this is how they do it. They dentalize it. That's a very Italian thing to say, dentalize it. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. 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 Two more. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Now I'm just dropping my jaw. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. I'm just dropping. We're gonna do one more just so I can show you that. I'm just dropping my jaw lightly to achieve that vowel up there. I'm not doing anything too crazy to stretch for that note. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back down a little bit and we're going to keep singing the solfege because I think it helps us, but then we're going to lip buzz on it. So if you can do this with me, great. If not, just sing the solfege twice, okay? Lip buzzing means I'm pulling the stomach muscles in and sending the air out through the lips consistently. If you can lip buzz half of it, like let's say you get it going and then all of a sudden on the sol it dies. That's because you've dropped your breath support muscles. So just try to re-engage them. Just try to get it going. It's okay if they're spitting. It's okay if it's gross and ugly. This is not so much about singing pretty, necessarily about getting the voice on breath, okay? So we're learning about arpeggios with the pattern, but now what we're trying to do is get that a pattern on breath support, okay? So any of this that you can do is great. You might not be able to get it going right away, but then all of a sudden it kicks in. Some people can get their breath going right away and it dies at the end. Other people have trouble getting on the breath, but then it kicks in. Either way, lip buzzing is a teacher. It's teaching you about your instrument and what you can do with it, okay? And that's really, really important. So we're gonna go like this. I want you to go do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Then breathe. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Don't forget your S and your O and dentalize your L. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. And you know what? We haven't been doing a lot of lip buzzing in my studio. We used to do it all the time. But since we went on Zoom, it tends to blow out the mics on my student side, so I can't hear if it's really working or not for them. So we haven't been doing it as much. And I have to tell you, I feel it. I feel it right now demonstrating this for you that I have not been lip buzzing that very much. So you can join me on this as much as possible. It does not need to be perfect. Just do your best. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Now we're going to go back down, and what I'd like to do everything on one breath. So you're going to do do, mi, sol, mi, and then on that last do, instead of singing do, you're going to immediately transition into a lip buzz, okay? So it's going to go do, mi, sol, mi, and this is going to tax you a little bit more, right? Because we're basically combining two phrases. Do, mi, sol, mi. I can even feel my back muscles getting involved in this a little bit as I get to the end of my lip buzzing phrase, and that's good. If you need to, feel the stomach muscles pulling in, but feel like they're being pulled in from the lower back. Do, mi, sol, mi. 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 One more. Do, mi, sol, mi. So now we're going to bring it up a notch even more, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep with our pattern on solfege first, okay? Then we'll immediately go into a lip buzz. Then on the last note of the lip buzz, I want you to switch to a staccato, and I want you to go he, 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 he. So you're doing three arpeggios, three-note arpeggios in a row, okay? And really working out your breath support. So in other words, it's do, mi, sol, mi, he, 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 he. I thought about going through it one time again where we take a breath in between each, but I don't think you need it because if you're doing staccato right, you should be able to get quick catch breaths between your he-he-he's, okay? So a reminder, staccato is short, disconnected breath, okay? We were doing very legato breath on both the solfege pattern and the lip buzzing pattern that we just did. But staccato breath is short, disconnected breaths, okay, with a lot of bounce in them, okay? So, and you even want to make sure that that last note has bounce. Sometimes my students forget, and on the last note it gets really, really long, okay? But I want short, disconnected breaths on all of these. It's like you're punching the staccato, okay? Do, mi, sol, mi, he, 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 he. Do, mi, sol, mi, he, 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 he. Do, mi, sol, mi, he, 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 he. Do, mi, sol, mi, he, 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 he. And this is, by the way, is one of my favorite types of exercises to do with students, is sort of mixing up your breath support. So, you know, doing the pattern for your ear and then trying it on legato lip buzzing just to get it on the breath, and then switching to staccato. This is the way healthy voices are formed. This is the way you figure out your voice. And I really love these sort of gauntlets where we're building all the things. You're building an understanding of music theory. You're building an understanding of ear training. Then you're building an understanding of technique with good breath support, with different approaches on breath. I love these kinds of exercises, okay, where they build. That, and then on top of all of it, you're just building stamina vocally. It's these very small, isolated patterns of notes that we're just repeating over and over again with different approaches, different vowel sounds, different elements to technique that ultimately develop vocal stamina, okay? So that's why I do this. I know it's a bit repetitive, but it's also hard. It's hard to do this, okay? So if you're doing this with me right now and showing up in any kind of way, and just as a reminder, if you're struggling with the staccato or struggling with the lip buzz, just do one thing. Sing do, mi, sol 3 times. You can do staccato 3 times. That's challenging, but you can do it if you want. You know, you can do the lip buzz twice and the staccato once, whatever you want to do. This is your lesson at this point. So take the tools that I've given you and explore what your instrument can do, okay? Do, mi, sol, mi. He, 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 he. Do, mi, sol, mi. He, 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 he. Do, mi, sol, mi. He, 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 he. our solfege pattern out. Now that you know do, mi, sol, mi, do, I think we've done enough of that. We're going to take that solfege out. We are going to keep our lip buzz, and we're going to keep our he, he. And now what we're going to do is go to a more legato approach, and we're going to do it on... I was thinking this over, and I'm not totally sold on this yet, but we'll see what happens. We're going to do it on moo. Yes, moo, like a cow. So in phonetics, in singing phonetics, that's M and U, a U, okay? That's your vowel. Now, the thing that I like about M in this moment is that we did humming earlier, and M is a voice consonant that kind of is like a hum. Okay? So it kind of does set you up in a beautiful way for tonality. And then I love oo. Oo is the narrowest vowel, okay? And I love oo because it has the magnetizing concept that E has. It's similar that way. But it also has height. There's some tallness in oo that I feel like just helps a singer stretch in a really beautiful and relaxed way. Okay, so it's just very linear, that vowel, and it really helps my voice kind of line up really, really well. Okay, so the pattern here is this. He, moo. Actually, I want to do many moos. Let's do that again. So he, moo. And notice when I did that, I didn't make a great big change in my lips. It's ooh. I'm basically keeping the vowel in charge and just touching my lips together to create those M's. So it really is like it's just one ooh with these M's that kind of divide it up. He, moo. I'm doing it wrong. Sorry. He, moo, moo. One more. Now we're going to move back up. I almost forgot what we were doing. For some reason, the muse wants to do one moo, so maybe we should switch to that, okay? Now, if you notice, the thing that I think was cool about that one, aside from the fact that I screwed it up, was that I really noticed the transition between the so there was this real action step that happened it happened very quickly for me because I've been doing this a long time, but I wanted to point this out that, you know, I'm doing this legato stretch on the lip buzz, but then I switch to that staccato and all of a sudden the stomach muscles are really engaged, right? Because I'm singing separate notes, okay? So if you're noticing that in yourself, that's great. And then we go back to that moo, and it's very much like the lip buzz was, okay? And I want you to imagine when you go to that moo, because we're gonna just do one now, moo, that the breath is pulling that ooh through your lips. Your mouth isn't doing anything. Your tongue isn't doing anything. Nothing. I mean, the mouth is involved, but it's a vessel. It's a vessel of carving the voice out. It's not actually creating the sound, okay? The sound is created by that breath, that thread of breath that's connecting with the notes, okay? Here we go. And I did get a breath before that last moo because I was able to because of my staccato. Again, you know why? This note is a B4, and this one's been giving me a lot of trouble personally. And I noticed this funny thing when I was doing the lip buzzing just now for you, that my voice flagged on it. Now I kept buzzing, so there was air in it, but it was like my voice almost went off breath there. I almost lost the lip buzz, and then when I did the staccato, I just didn't love the position of that note. And when I did the legato, I think it finally got in there. But I'm going to do it again. That note for me needs to be really carved into the cartilage of my nose. So it's not nasal, okay? And my voice, I never sing nasal, but my voice has nose in my sound, okay? My voice, I like to imagine that my voice like basically likes to hang out in that space in my skull, you know, where behind the cartilage of my nose, okay? I know that's a weird thing, but it kind of helps me. But when it's kind of coming out, when it's propelling forward, it has sort of these different positions that it propels, especially this note. So it's very, very narrow, okay? It's so narrow that I probably shouldn't feel it. And that's why I flagged it, because I could feel it and it wasn't right, okay? Here we go. I like that one much more. Even the lip buzzing was better. Let's try this one. This one might give me a little trouble too. Yeah, see, it did. Oh my gosh, it's like too smoky. I don't like it. It needs to go more this way. So I'm gonna try to get it more this way on my lip buzz. Ready? Oops, sorry. That was better. But see, I had to put some attention. That was 2 notes I had to put attention on. I've been at this 27.5 years, and there's still some notes in my range that I have to give some mindfulness to. So that's why it's important. That's why everything that we talk about getting into the body and the breathing and paying attention, the physicality and the buzzing and all that stuff, that is all the way by which I sing. That's how I stay consistent with my voice, okay? So that's what I'm talking about to you guys when I'm talking about this little minutia. We're going through this in these very linear ways. This is how I sing. Oops, hi. Okay, a few more of these. You ready? Here we go. Two more. Last one. So now with our last remaining minutes, we're going to just do a little challenge exercise. Okay, so we're going to take the lip buzzing out entirely, and I just want you to go okay, so I'm doing he, hoo, hoo. He, hoo, hoo, he. So that's double staccato arpeggios. That's the pattern. Do, mi, sol, mi, do, mi, sol, mi, do. They connect on that bottom do when you first descend, okay? And I'm doing he, he's going up. Then I switch to hoo, who's coming down. He, he's going up. Hoo, who's coming down. Do is always he, okay? Just to give you a heads up. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. And I'm really feeling that H pulling in. If you're not feeling your H pulling in, it's stuck in your throat. Imagine you can't create that H without pulling your stomach muscles in. That's kind of true anyway. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. Look at how I'm doing it too. Even though it's staccato, I create the space. I have repetitive vowels, okay? And the vowels are in charge of the space. So I'm not changing the space. I'm not like rebooting it every time. I'm not going he, hoo, hoo, right? I'm going he, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. So I'm just moving my mouth into the position I need it to go to. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. 2 more. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. I actually lied. 3 more. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. He, hoo, hoo, he, hoo, hoo, he. And That's it for Tuneful Tuesday. My voice sounds so nice and ready to teach for another like 5 hours or whatever I'm about to do. So I want to thank you for joining me today, single viewer. I see you and I love you and I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. I hope you got something out of this Tuneful Tuesday. If you couldn't join us today, catch it on Twitch for another 2 weeks, or you can go to the YouTube channel. Miss Tara Sing With Me is on the YouTube channel, okay? And I will do a little refresh of what we did in the notes so you can follow along. I highly recommend this one, doing this exercise, this series of exercises again this week, because next week for Tuneful Tuesday, we're going to take right off with the solfege, with the arpeggio. We probably won't do much review because we're going to start doing different variations of it, because the final week of June, I want to do another sort of major voice lesson where we go through everything we learned on the arpeggio. So all of the exercises, so we can have a larger lesson. I really enjoyed that last month and I thought it was very helpful. So thank you for joining me. This is Miss Tara. I'm wishing you love and high notes, and I'll see you next week. Bye.